We are talking about acoustic treatment and the importance of acoustic treatment for your home studio or whatever studio you're recording your stuff in or producing your stuff. So why should we apply acoustic treatment to a room? It's fairly simple, because we want to get rid of the reverberation. What are reverberations? Reverberations are basically just hall created by sound waves. So your sound waves are traveling and then boom, hitting this wall, going over to this wall, going over to this, bouncing on the corners everywhere. And the sound waves are at some point flying all across the room, overlapping. And this is called acoustic interference, because they are interfering with each other. So what happens is they can either amplify each other or cancel each other out. The problem with that is that it creates uneven frequency responses and a really distorted and uneven listening experience. This just really makes it difficult to accurately hear and mix your music. If you're, for example, producing with really expensive studio monitors, you can buy the most expensive ones and it's not going to be worth it if your room is not properly treated. Because of that, it's really advised to produce with a pair of professional mixing headphones, as these headphones just directly input the sound into your ear and they are not dwelling around in this room and bouncing off everywhere. They are just going straight into your ear. I'm not trying to say that you can use your headphones and not treat your room at all. I just want to be completely transparent. If you're not really sure if this music production and recording thing is really the right thing for you, you can save a lot of money by just buying a pair of these in the first place. So this was a small little introduction to why we should treat our rooms. Now we can talk about how to do it and what we need to consider to get some professional and high quality results. Alright, so setting up your desk, speakers and sitting position in an acoustically treated room requires careful planning and attention to detail. Here are some general guidelines that can help you. First, desk placement. Position your desk in the center of the room, away from the walls and corners. So your desk should be at 3/4 of the room, in the middle of the room. Keep a symmetry. Do not put your desk in the corners, as the reflections in the corners are quite heavy. Second, speaker placement. So place your speakers on stands or isolation pads and position them so they form an equilateral triangle with your head. This will help to create an accurate stereo image and a balanced frequency response. Third, the listening position. So sit at your desk in the center of the equilateral triangle. Fancy word, yeah, I know. Your ears should be at the same height as the speakers and your head should be roughly at the center of the triangle. This will help to create a stable and accurate stereo image. So fourth, we are talking about room dimensions. Ideally, the room should have dimensions that follow the golden ratio. If you have a square room, don't care too much about it, because of the fact that a acoustically treated is way better than a room without acoustic treatment, no matter how your room dimensions are. By following these guidelines and making adjustments based on your personal preferences and needs, you can set up your studio room for optimal sound quality and listening experience. Now we are talking about the materials and the thickness of the absorbers. This absorber is called Vasotect absorber. This is a special foam designed to absorb high and mid frequencies. If you want to absorb the bass frequencies, for example, you need to have this absorber to be much thicker. These mid and high frequency absorbers are perfect for hobby artists or small studios, as they are capable of absorbing most of the unwanted frequencies. I bought a lot of these Vasotect absorbers and they are everywhere. I purely use these absorbers as they are just easy to mount, they are not toxic, they are not flammable, and they are super light. So now we talked about foam. Let's talk about fiberglass. Fiberglass is a common material used for acoustic panels as well. Fiberglass panels are made of compressed fiberglass and are covered with fabric. They are effective at absorbing high frequency. Next we have mineral wool. This material is similar to fiberglass and is often used in place of it. It has excellent sound absorption properties and is fire resistant. A common mineral wool is rock wool. In my experience, don't use mineral wool if you have the money to afford foam, because mineral wool and fiberglass especially can be quite toxic. Another material is wood. Wooden panels can also be used as acoustic panels. They are really effective at absorbing mid to high frequencies. Another really good material is hemp. So with hemp you are able to absorb mid frequencies and high frequencies as well. The appropriate thickness of the panels will depend on the frequency range you are trying to absorb. Generally, thicker panels are better at absorbing lower frequencies, while thinner panels are better at absorbing higher frequencies. where should you put these mid and high frequency absorbers? You should put to the right of your speakers, to the left of your speakers, in the back, in the front, and at the ceiling. Imagine this is the whole frequency spectrum. Right now we have this part of the frequency spectrum covered, but the bass area down here is untreated right now. So bass traps are always in the corner, like you see over there. Another really helpful information is that an air gap behind a bass trap is really useful because it increases the effectiveness of the trap by providing a space for sound waves to be absorbed, improving low frequency absorption properties and preventing the trap from becoming saturated with sound energy. So if you have a rectangular bass trap, don't worry that it's not filling the gap behind it, because this is actually quite a good thing. And if you have these triangle shaped bass traps, it is actually really beneficial and advised to have the angled side facing the room. Don't worry about the pictures where the bass trap is basically filling the whole corner, as calculations have proven this method to be more efficient than filling the whole corner. This of course is dependent on the thickness and material of your bass trap, but this is just a general guide and a method that has proven to be working quite fine. So just try to cover most of your room with acoustic panels. Now the sound has it much harder to bounce off the walls, but leave some spaces in between to avoid sucking up too much frequencies to keep a somewhat natural environment. You have probably already searched the internet for acoustic panels or something like this. And the first thing that jumps into your face on the homepage are these Amazon links. So if you want to get a high quality treatment in your room, avoid these acoustic panels at all costs. If you've already bought them, fine, just put them on the walls. They are serving just as a high frequency absorber. We have already talked about it. You need to cover most of the frequency range, at least the highs and the mids. And these absorbers are just way too thin and the foam is not really that special. Keep that in mind because high quality foam is much more expensive and much thicker. A lot of YouTubers use these panels and these pyramid absorbers, but they're not really the real deal. Now we are talking about how to find out the right thickness and material for your acoustic panels. Different acoustic panels are designed to absorb different frequency ranges. Generally, bass traps are designed to absorb lower frequencies, typically below 250 Hz, while mid and high frequency acoustic panels are designed to absorb higher frequencies, typically between 500 Hz and 4000. You can check out the blog post I did on this whole topic, where I have a tabular displaying all of the important statistics for different sound absorbing materials. So first I like to create a bass trap. Let's say we want to use Rockwool Tamarack 40. So here are the we're typing in 10K, absorber thickness of 300 millimeters and an air gap of 150 millimeters. Let's calculate. So this is the graph that this porous absorber calculator gave us. You can find the link to this website in the description below. What we can see is that above 500 Hz, the Sonorock Tamarack 40 does an excellent job, and below 500 Hz, it's a great job as well. Okay, let's say we want to have a mid-range absorber. Then we just need to focus on this area over here, and we can lower the thickness and therefore the price of our material by quite a bit. So we say 100 millimeters and no air gap. As we can see, the lower frequency dipped down quite a bit, but the higher frequencies are just right. Let's say we want 150 millimeters. 150 millimeters is just the perfect amount for this mid and high range absorber. Let's do an example with another material. Let's use Basotec, the mid and high range absorbers that I have all across my room. 12,000. Let's keep the thickness and see what the graph says about a Basotec absorber. So a Basotec absorber just does the same thing for a mid and high frequency absorber. Let's say we want to have a even greater result. So we can take Rockwool Tamarack 30 for example, with 7000 Pascal. Put it in here, calculate, and what we are seeing here is that we have an excellent result for the bass frequencies. I cannot give you an exact number of where to aim, but I can tell you that the basic Rockwool material is quite amazing for absorbing bass. Keep in mind that it might be a little bit toxic, but I already gave you alternative materials that you might use. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and if you did, please leave me a like, leave me a comment. Just act in favor of the algorithm a bit, and I would like to see this channel a little bit growing, right? So check out my website boobox-music.com if you're interested in courses and if you're interested in informative blog content over there. And yeah, that's basically it for today. Have a great day, stay positive, and keep producing, right? Ciao, ciao.